Part 6, Ajamil Katha.
स्वयंचारी ये अपनी इच्छा किया है, शास्त्र के नियमों को खंडन किया है। स्वयंचारी ये अपनी इच्छा से आचरण करता है, अति गर्हित लोक में भी निंदित है। आप लोग ऐसा मत समझिए कि हम लोग इसके पाप की बात कहते हैं। आप लोग पूरे क्षेत्र में पूछ लीजिए, एक जिला में सब लोग बताएंगे कि अव्वल नंबर का पापी।
The Yamaduta said, number 67, this Brahmana irresponsibly spent his long lifetime breaking all the rules and regulations of the scriptures. He was Ashuchi, Kalam Ghayu Rashuchi Malat. He is condemned. She used to drink wine, and she used to be with other men, and he used to eat from her hand, food cooked by her. So he was condemned. Especially devotees should be very careful about their eating. What this Ajamil was eating, he was eating malat. Mala means stool. He was eating malat because he was eating food made by the prostitute. One should eat foods cooked either by his mother, sister or wife. They cook with affection for the son, wife or brother. They cook with the intention that he should be healthy and long-lived. So in India we know that in the joint families we have aunties and sisters. The best hand is the mother's hand for feeding, cooking, and then the wife. And on top of that, if they are Vaishnavis. So there is a great effect of eating food by whose hand it is cooked. Hands they look the same. The food even may look the same. Just like if you eat in a hotel, there may be some waitresses. They will bring food. They will bring food to your table, but that food will not bring the consciousness and the Shakti that your wife or mother will bring. It looks like the same food, but the effect is different. Mother or wife, when she feeds with love, and she does not charge you. She would not give you a bill. One may think that there is no difference. The waitress is serving and mother is serving, and the food tastes almost the same, but there is a big difference. One should only eat in somebody's house if they want to feed you with love. He should be Vaishnav, he should be pure. And then, otherwise, Yamaduta says, this Yamaduta has lived his life by eating malat. His eating from the hands of that prostitute was actually like eating stool. And also on top of that, she used to eat, and then she used to give her leftovers to her husband. So he used to eat the leftovers, contaminated food given by the prostitute every day. I have heard one story, haven't seen it myself. There's a sadhu. He lives in Ayodhya. His father was very rich.
वो सुनाया करते
He used to tell me stories.
नौकर रहता
He had a servant in his house.
नौकर बहुत छोटी जाति का नहीं
The servant wasn't a low-class man.
एक बार उसको एक नाट्य की स्त्री नेटुआ हम लोग कहते हैं नेटुआ बहुत छोटी जाति
One time, he was
नेटुआ की स्त्री से
he
उसका मन आसक्त हो
one time he was seen to be associating with a low-class woman.
उसी के घर रहने लगा
So he started to live in that woman's house. Although he came from a good high-class family, he was their cook.
इधर के लोग सब जाग जाते हैं
So this is called netua, this kind of woman.
तो उसके साथ रहने लगा
He started to
काम पर नहीं
live with her. So many times he didn't come to work.
लगा कि वो जाकर
So the boss asked, where is he gone?
है बिटवीन के साथ उसका मन में
So people told him that he went to this woman's house.
हार करने के लिए अपने नौकर
So he went to this woman's house to deliver his servant.
तो उसको पता लग गया कि मालिक है
So when this man heard that my boss is coming, so
वो जान गया कि अगर ये सिद्ध हो जाएगा कि मैं भ्रष्ट नहीं
So-
तो मालिक ले
so he knew that if his boss found out that he wasn't fallen, he will take him back. So if he found that
बेटुइन के थाली में खाने लगा
so as soon as he saw his boss coming, he started eating.
अब मेरा
He started eating in this woman's same plate to show the boss that he's fallen.
मालिक कहेगा हाँ
And he said, my dear boss, I have fallen, I cannot work for you. So the boss said, yes, you're fallen. I will not take you back to cook in my house. So in that way he escaped and was allowed he wasn't allowed to come back. So this is seen even today.
दो चार दिन बाद ही मैं वहाँ उस गाँव में पहुँचा
After a few days after this incident, I reached that village.
उसका जूठा खा करके प्रमाण दिया कि मैं गिर गया हूँ
Af-
और मालिक भी मान लिया कि अब
He ate this other woman's leftovers and proved to the boss that I'm fallen.
किसी का जूठा खाना बहुत भयावह चीज
But actually to eat somebody's leftovers is very dangerous,
है जूठा खाना
especially another woman's leftovers.
जमराज के दूत कहेंगे कि ये मल खा
So why the Yamadutas would not call Ajamil was eating mal?
प्रकाशम कृत किल विषम निश्यामो कृत निर्वेशम जब दंड
Number 68.
यह पापी इतना पाप किया लेकिन इसको चाहिए था कि
This man Ajamil did so much sinful activity, but he should have in his old age undergone atonement. Therefore, because of his sinful life, we must take him in the presence of Yamaraj for punishment.
इस पापी को हम ले जाने दीजिए हम लोग दवा जानते हैं
Tata enan dand pane. Therefore, allow us to take him to Yamaraj.
जाएगा पीटा जाएगा
He would be so much beaten in the hellish planets that he will be dandena suddhyati. He will become purified.
हम लोग इसके हितैषी हैं।
Actually, we're not his enemies, we're his friends.
हो जाता है तो अस्पताल
Just like when somebody becomes sick, he's taken to the hospital and then he's been surgery upon, and we are like that.
इसने कोई प्रायश्चित नहीं किया
He did not do any atonement, so please let him come with us and we'll purify him with our medicine.
लेकिन लोगों के मुख से एक बार भी यह नहीं आया कि इसने अंत में भगवान का नाम लिया।
They said so many things, but not once did the Yamadutas said that at the time of death he called Narayan's name.
धर्म का निरूपण किए पवित्र धर्म का इसके पापों को कहे लेकिन एक बार भी नहीं कहे ये कभी कभी नारायण नाम बोलता है
Not once they realized that sometimes he used to call Narayan's name.
मेरा नाम वो ले रहा था इसलिए उसको लोग
This
खाता में
they understood that he was calling his son, and that's why they did not accept.
इतनी बात सुनने के बाद
So after hearing this,
भगवान के पास बहुत अफसोस पूर्वक
the Vishnu Dutas became very sorry, and with great sorrow they spoke as thus.
बड़ा अफसोस में बोले हैं अब मैं किसकी शरण
They said,
ये बेचारा भगवान
who, they said, alas, how painful it is
भी इसको पापी कह रहे हैं।
that you're calling this man sinful, although he has called the name of Narayan so many times.
उसको मैं चालू नहीं करना चाहता हूँ, इसको पूरा नहीं कर पाऊंगा।
So in the next shlokas, the Vishnu Dutas will prove to the Yamadutas that he is freed, that he is pure, and they will free him.
देवता बहुत फल हो गए हैं, लोग आकर के विष्णु पादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वतेव गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे एवं ते
Chapter 2, Shloka 1.
यमदूताभिभाषिता उपधार्यात तान् राजान् प्रत्याहुर्नयको विदः वे
They,
भगवद्दूता भगवान के दूत
servants of Lord Vishnu,
यमदूताभिभाषिताम् यमदूतों के अभिभाषण
by the servants of Yamaraj, what was spoken,
खूब ध्यान से सुनकर
hearing attentively.
इसके बाद
Then,
हे राजन हे महाराज परीक्षित
hey Maharaj Parikshit,
प्रत्याहु उनके प्रति
replied properly,
नय को विदहा न्याय निपुण
being conversant in good arguments or good logic.
लगभग
Just about
2-2.5 दिन
2.5 days,
संचलन
this Yamaduta's class pravachan was going on for 2.5 days.
सुखदेव गोस्वामी कहते हैं
Sukadev Goswami says,
इस प्रकार से जमराज के दूतों
in this way,
को भगवान के भक्तों ने बहुत ध्यान से
in this way, the Vishnu Dutas
धारण किया सुना
heard very carefully the Yamaduta's arguments and logic.
तरह से सुना
Upadharyat means very carefully,
चूंकि भगवान के पार्षद
because
अत्यंत
Vish-
सभ्य पुरुष हैं।
Vishnu Dutas are very
किसी विवाद हो रहा
sabhya, very gentle gentlemen.
धर्म है कि हम विपक्ष की बात
If two persons are arguing, it is the dharma of the gentleman to hear the other person's point of view
बात छेड़ता है।
attentively.
यद्यपि भगवान के पार्षद जान रहे हैं
Although
के दूत जो बोल रहे हैं अजामिल के
Vishnu Dutas knew
वह एक दृष्टि से ठीक भी है और
what the Yamadutas were saying, at one point of view they were right, and one point of view they were also wrong.
लेकिन फिर भी जमराज के दूत जो बातें कह रहे थे
But whatever Yamadutas were saying, it had some truth. The Ajamil did commit sinful activities in that way.
भले कितना भी बड़ा विद्वान
Here there is instruction given.
यदि वह किसी से कुछ पूछ रहा है
Doesn't matter how great and learned you may be,
पूछा है उनकी बातों
if you ask somebody a question, you may be more learned than them, but it is your duty to hear also what they have to say.
मैं भक्त हूँ इसलिए इसकी बात क्यों
If we think that I'm a devotee, then why I should hear him? He is condemned.
भगवत पार्षद
But Bhagavad Parshad, the Vaikuntha Vasis, they heard Yamadutas
उनको जानकारी नहीं
words like gentlemen. Not because they didn't know,
जब तक हम विपक्ष की बातों को खूब अच्छी तरह से
but actually until we hear very carefully the other side's comments, we will not be able to answer them very well.
सुखदेव गोस्वामी
That's why Badarayana Sukadev Goswami
तरह से सुन
said,
इसे शिक्षा देनी चाहिए कि हमें भी मान लीजिए कभी वाद विवाद करना हो तो दूसरे की बात को कभी ध्यान से सुनना चाहिए.
So can we can learn also, whenever there's an argument, we should also hear the other side very carefully.
यहाँ भगवान के पार्षदों के लिए सुखदेव गोस्वामी नए कोविदा
Here,
शब्द का प्रयोग करते
Sukadev Goswami says, Naya Kovida.
हैं. न्याय
He is calling Vishnu Duta Naya Kovida, means
और न्याय का
Nyay,
उचित.
being
किस देश में
being conversant in good arguments or good logic. In which country, in what place, and what time, what should we speak?
सत्य हो शास्त्र से
We should speak what is truth in every way. How to speak logically and with good arguments in any condition are called Naya Kovidaha. This is the quality of Vishnu Dutas.
विषय में मैं निगेटिव पॉइंट कहना चाहता हूँ कि आजकल की जो वक्ता
In this way, I want to say something negative,
बहुत ऐसी
that
बातें होती हैं जो जान
these speakers in this age, especially in India, so many things they do not know, and still they speak. So the intelligent persons, the ones that are hearing, they can understand that the speaker is not very intelligent. But the person who's speaking, he thinks he's very intelligent.
और पूछा जाता है कि आप क्या समझे उसकी बात को, तो वो तो इतनी हाई बात बोल रहा था कि हमारे दिमाग से बाहर थी.
And some people, they would just sit and hear, even though they don't understand anything. If you ask them afterwards, so what did you hear? They would say, he was speaking such high philosophy that I didn't understand anything.
नहीं समझ में आया. ये भी तो हो सकता है ना.
It is also possible that you didn't understand
इसलिए प्रवचन
because this person was not speaking properly. So the person giving class should be very careful about how he presents the subject matter.
नया का होता है नीति या न्याय.
Naya Kovida means niti.
इतना बोलना चाहिए, ठीक ठीक जानकारी होनी चाहिए, ठीक ठीक बात बोलनी चाहिए, इसको न्याय कहा.
Nyaya means about what subject, how much, and what we should speak.
तो इस विषय में भगवान के समान
So Vishnu Dutas in this respect are just like Vishnu.
कंप्लीट ज्ञान
When Vishnu speaks complete knowledge, Vishnu Dutas speak in the same way.
सब बोलते हैं. तभी जब दूतों की बात को सुन करके
So they, after hearing Yamaduta's talk, now they speak. Number 2. Vishnu Duta Uchu.
अहो कष्टं धर्म दृशाम अधर्मः स्पृशते सभाम जत्र दंडेषु पापेषु दंडो यथयते वृथा.
Alas, how painful it is. Such sorrowful situation it is.
धर्म का पालन करके दूसरों को धर्म की शिक्षा देने वाले
Those
उन्हीं लोगों के
who are supposed to teach others religion, in their assembly, irreligion is being introduced.
मति यदि अधर्म में हो जाए
Irreligion is being introduced into an assembly where religion should be maintained.
धर्म में पड़ जाए.
Indeed,
लोगों के सभा में
those in charge of maintaining the religious principles are needlessly punishing a sinless, unpunishable person.
धर्म
Dharma
दृशान.
Drishan.
धर्म क्या है? धर्म का वास्तव
What is dharma?
किसी का कर्तव्य.
Dharma means, in this verse, somebody's
उसके अनुसार जो उसका कर्तव्य है उसका धर्म है.
his duty according to his constitutional position.
धर्म का ज्ञान है नहीं, लेकिन
So
विश्व में कुछ
everyone doesn't have the knowledge of dharma, but certain personalities in this cosmic manifestation are the knowers of religion, like Yamaraj.
है. ये करो तुम यह हो.
You are this, you do this, you do this.
भगवान के पास कह रहे हैं कि जो धर्म के
Here,
निष्ठा है, उपदेशक है, उन्हीं लोगों के समाज में
here Vishnu Dutas is saying, those who are supposed to preach religion, irreligion has entered into their assembly.
क्या कष्ट की बात.
What is the pain? They're saying
यत्र अदंडेषु अपापेषु
Yatra adandeshu apapeshu,
जिस समाज में
that in which society,
नहीं किया है
if a person who's sinless,
अपापेश, इसलिए कि
he is adande apapi, means he did not do pap,
या किया
and he is not to be given dand, punishment, he is given punishment.
व्यक्ति को भी जिस समाज में दंडित किया जा रहा है
So the others,
बिना कारण
without any reason, he is being punished.
जानना
So
शास्त्रारः साधवः समाः यदि स्यात्तेषु वैषम्यं प्रजा कम सर्व
So the general public will become more free to do sins because they will see that it does not matter.
पालका पिता के समान पालने वाले हैं खास करके
A king or government official
जमराज जी इस विश्व में ब्रह्मा
should be so qualified that he acts as father,
है कि वो जो गलती करेगा उसको दंड देना और
maintainer,
करेगा उसको पुरस्कार
and protector of citizens.
लोग धर्म में रुचि बढ़े
Yamaraj should be like this.
है जमराज जी वे किसी
He is the supreme master of justice.
पापियों को
He is actually not anybody's enemy. He is everyone's friend. Just like
थोड़ा होता
a father takes his son to the hospital, if he has a big boil, he has the boil taken out,
पिता के समान
given medicine, etc. So Yamaraj is like father,
और शासक दंड
A-
देकर के शुद्ध कर
and by giving punishment, he purifies the living entities.
वैषम्य होगा निरपराधी को दंड देने
But if he starts like this to give
किसकी शरण में जाएगी
punishment to the innocent, then where will the citizens go to take shelter for their maintenance and security?
अजामिल ने रत्ती भर भी पाप
This is the pain Vishnu Dutas are feeling.
दंड देने के लिए और दूसरे कष्ट की बात ये है
And the,
जदा चरती श्रेया
and the second painful thing is that,
प्रमाणम कुरुते लोकस तदन वर्तते
number 4,
भगवत पार्षद कहते हैं कि
but
ये कष्ट
they're saying
ऐसे लोगों का उदाहरण बना करके
by
दूसरे
taking the example of such persons,
जब जदा चरती श्रेया श्रेया मतलब श्रेष्ठ जो जो श्रेष्ठ व्यक्ति आचरण करता है
whatever the Shresht,
तद
the great personalities do, the common men follow.
इससे क्या होगा
So what will happen?
कर रहे हैं धर्मराज जी या उनके दूत
So this behavior of Yamadutas or Yamaraj, by this behavior,
भी नहीं है उसको भी दंड देंगे और
the mass of people will follow the example, and they will see that the person who is not sinful, he is being punished. So the people who are sinful, they will escape punishment. This is the second painful thing. Prabhupada has said many times in the Bhagavad purport about the king or government officials, politicians.
पिता को सावधान रहना चाहिए कोई ऐसा
And the father should be very careful that he does not do anything bad, that the son may learn from his bad example.
यदि पाप करना ही पड़े
But if the father has to do something sinful, he should do it completely away from the knowledge of the children, such as if he wants to smoke cigarette, suppose, he should smoke in such a place that the children will not even know, that even his wife will not find out.
पाप न करे सर्वोत्तम यही है
Best is if he does not do anything sinful, but if he is forced to do something like smoking a cigarette, he should do, or going to the cinema, he should do without engaging the rest of his family or giving them encouragement.
नहीं तो इतर स्तर तद ही रहते छोटे लोग वही देख करके नकल करने लगते
Otherwise, it will be itaras tadr tat nadiyate. The younger generation will follow from his behavior. Why the younger generation is smoking cigarette or bidis is because they see their father, grandfather smoking.
जैसे महान पुरुष
and they also copy and do the same. If Yamaraj makes a mistake like this, then where will the general public go?
शिर आधाय लोकः स्वपिति निर्वृतः स्वयं धर्मम अधर्मम वा नहीं वेद यथा पशु.
Number 5 shloka.
जनता की हालत ऐसी है कि
People in general
स्वयं धर्म क्या है अधर्म क्या
are not very advanced in knowledge. They don't know, they cannot discriminate between religion and irreligion.
जो हेड होता है देश का हेड होता है
The head of the country or the family,
तो उसके अंक में गोद में
in his lap, the citizens have keep their heads in their lap like an ignorant animal sleeping in peace.
बच्चा माँ के
And if
सो जाता है पूरा विश्वास
the master is foolish, then where would this
माँ कहती है बच्चा सो रहा है तो
the children take shelter?
हो जाए कि ये शिक्षा करके बच्चा
A child sleeps in the lap of the mother, and the child knows that he's safe. But if there is such a mother that is waiting that the child, when he sleeps, she will murder him, then what protection? Who will give protection to the child?
धर्म क्या है सबसे बड़ा धर्म है
This is spoken by
लिया है
Vishnu Dutas.
करोड़ों जन्म का पाप कट गया है फिर भी उसको नरक में ले जाएगा.
Again and again they're saying, he has chanted the name of Narayan, and millions of births, his sins from millions of births have been eradicated. And still he's been forced to be taken to hell.
जिसके गोद में सिर पकड़ सोते हैं जैसे ट्रेन
We see, just like when a train is going,
ट्रेन के ड्राइवर के हाथ में वास्तव जानता नहीं स्नेह करना
such a leader is condemned actually, who does not know how to be affectionate to his surrendered, the person surrendered to him.
ट्रेन का ड्राइवर है
Just like the driver of the train,
ट्रेन के ड्राइवर के हाथ में
in the hand of the driver's train, thousands of people put their lives in his hand.
वर्थ कराते हैं
They actually take a sleeping berth in the train, and thousands of people, they sleep,
रात को सब लोग सो हो जाते हैं.
and one man, he is carrying everyone's life in his hand. Sometimes there are 2 people.
ज्ञान होना चाहिए
So this kind of person should have the knowledge that where there can be an accident, which way to go. Behind Yamaraj, behind whom is the whole world's control, if he makes a mistake like this, then what will the other people do? This is what will happen, that people will not be glorifying the Lord. They will not believe in the glories of the name. They will. So Yamaraj should not make a mistake like this.
ऐसा व्यक्ति सर्वप्रथम निर्विकात्मानम
Such a person,
कृतमैत्रम अचेतनम
Kritamatram Achetanam. Such a person, in his lap, in whose lap millions of people are keeping their heads and sleeping,
नितरम अर्पित आत्मानम
Nitya Arpitam Atmanam,
जेनतम जिसने अपने आत्मा को अपने शरीर को अपने सब कुछ को जिसके गोद में दे दिया
whose people who have given their soul, their everything in this in the hands of this person, knowing that he is his friend, he will treat him properly,
और अचेतन
and
को वेद का ज्ञान नहीं होता
he's Achetanam. He is not an enlightened citizen. He actually faithfully believes in his master's protection.
और कहीं वही व्यक्ति ले
And And if the same master takes him and throws him in a ditch,
ऐसी दशा जब लीडरों की
when leaders become like this, then in whose shelter would the world, people of the world go? Srila Prabhupada, in this, with respect to the government, political leaders, he speaks a lot in his purports that they don't discriminate between religion and irreligion. They keep the animals, feed them nicely, and when the animal is big and fat, they take them to the slaughterhouse. But the animal may not have ever imagined that this person is feeding me, taking care of me, to one day kill me and eat me. So, by the lectures of Yamadutas, it seems that the person who's in charge should never be making a mistake like this. King, Dharmatma, Lokpati and Guru. They should be very careful about making mistake. And if one person makes a mistake, then thousands would be killed. If one person who is in the responsible position makes a mistake, then 1,000 persons will be punished. The driver of the train, actually, he does not get even a seat sometimes. He has to stand all the way. And sometimes they have a rule to have two drivers. So if one starts to fall asleep, the other one will take over. In this way, the king should be. The whole civilization depends on this king, and they believe that the king will give them shelter, protect them from the enemies. So it is a duty of the king to protect the citizens. In the same way, it is the duty of the guru to be austere, to study Shastra, to not be greedy, because in his hands he has the life of thousands of disciples. And if the guru falls down, then what will happen to the disciples? He also has a very responsible position. Therefore, Vishnu Dutas are feeling very sorry that such a great personality has made such a great mistake. Actually, Yamaraj never makes a mistake. This was a special case. He was so sinful that Yamaraj did not pay much attention to his chanting. Later on, he asked the Lord for forgiveness for his mistake. This, the Yamaduta said, "Why are you so upset about giving punishment to such a sinful person again and again? If he was not a sinful person, then you could have gotten angry. But please control your tongue, and about whom you're talking, please think carefully," the Yamaduta said. Here, one man is lying on his deathbed. This is a sinful person, and he is being punished, and you're saying he is not to be given punishment. You're punishing a Dharmatma. What a Dharmatma? As we have explained to you before, he is not a Dharmatma. he lived with a prostitute, and unlimited sinful activities he's done. In this way, you're calling a sinful person very nice, and you're pointing a finger at our master, Yamaraj. You should know that he is to be punished. Number 7 shloka. Vishnu Dutas are saying, Ajamil has already atoned for all his sinful actions. Person who you are calling sinful, he has already atoned for his sins, not only for this one lifetime, but those performed in millions of lives. He has already atoned for unlimited sins of his unlimited lives. You Yamadutas are counting his sins of this one last life. Yad vyajhar vivasho nama. For in a helpless condition, he chanted the holy name of Narayan. Just from that, he has nullified or atoned for millions of sins for millions of lifetimes. Even though he did not chant purely, he chanted without offense, and therefore he is now pure and eligible for liberation. Janma means birth, Koti means millions. Amhasam means sinful activities. Even though he chanted in helpless condition, Vivash, Yad Vyajhar Vivasho. Vivash means in a helpless condition. At the time of death, in a helpless condition, he was calling his son. The day he did name ceremony for his son, and he was in his mother's lap, Ajamil, when he first time he said, "My dear son Narayan, come into my lap from your mother's lap." At that time, all his sins were already nullified when he first chanted Narayan. Vishnu Dutas are not in Avidya, not in Rajagun. They are on Shuddha Sattva platform. They have no ignorance in them. Whatever they are speaking, they're speaking like the Lord Vishnu. He did not say Narayan, thinking that Narayan is Lord's name. By saying this name, everything will be auspicious. Out of affection for his son, he called his son's name Narayan. And when did he call? At the time of death, when one is not able to speak. Yad Vyajhara. Yad Vyajhara means because he has chanted. Even if he had just remembered the name, speaking the name is greater than thinking of the name. In his helpless condition, he has actually chanted. And the Lord's name does not just atone the sins. It purifies and makes him eligible for liberation. By chanting the name first time, he already became atoned, and now he is eligible for liberation. He can't even go to the heavenly planets, he will go above. It is said in one Shastra, Sakrit Ucharitam Jena, in Skanda Purana, by once chanting the holy name of the Lord, which consists of two syllables Ha and Ri, just by once chanting, it is understood that he has pulled up his socks to become liberated. He is on his path of liberation. Harir iti akshara dvayam. Dvayam means two, akshara means syllables. That's why the devotees of ISKCON, they make others chant Hari Bol, Hari Bol, and the others are forced to chant Hari. Mukti or liberation doesn't mean we go somewhere and we finished with everything, we become air or we mingle with something. Mukti means one becomes a parshad of the Lord, becomes in his swarup, and he goes to the Lord and he takes Krishna's darshan and serves him and plays with him, etc. beyond the modes of material nature. This is liberation. Skanda Purana says, by once only chanting the holy name of the Lord with two syllables, Akshara Dvayam, Ha and Ri, and the more he chants these two syllables, the faster he goes on his path to liberation. So I will not describe each individual slok in too much time, because we do not have too much time. We will understand the glories, how glorious is the name of the Lord. This name of the Lord will give love for God. This atonement of sin is no big thing. So the Yamadutas are arguing that to increase some auspicious activity, the Yamadutas started arguing again. They said, okay, we can understand. If he had chanted Harinam along with other sadhanas like Dan and Tap, then we can understand by adding Harinam, he could have improved a little bit. His auspiciousness of his activities would have increased. They are ready to accept that he could have been atoned if he had done Yagya, Tap and Dan, etc. And in between he did a little jap, Harinam. Then there was a chance that he could have been atoned. We can understand by adding a little Harinam, it could have happened, but we just do not believe or understand that only Harinam, only two letters Hari could have atoned him and given him love for God, liberation. This we cannot understand. Number 8. Vishnutas are saying that even previously, while eating and at other times, this Ajamil would call his son saying, my dear Narayan, the first time in his life when he uttered the 4 syllables Na, Ra, Ya and Na, simply by chanting the name of Narayan in this way once, he sufficiently atoned for the sinful reactions of millions of lives. Yada Narayaneti Jagat Chatur Aksharam. These 4 syllables. Already he atoned, not for this life, but for millions of life. Ete naiva agho nosya. So actually Vishnu Dutas are saying, actually he said too much. If he had, or even if he had just said na and ra, that would have been enough. He Narayana is, he said too much already. By hearing and chanting this shlokas, my mind is saying that whatever life we have left, we should only chant the holy name. We should learn from these verses. Here, this is history. By putting Ajamil in the middle, there is conversation between the two parties. And on one hand, the Yamadutas are giving the other methods for atonement. On the other hand, Vishnu Dutas are speaking only of Harinam, not just for atonement, but for also liberation and love for God. Asya aghonasya kritam. Suppose they ask when did he atone? Again, Vishnu Dutas say, the very first time he said, Narayan, please come to my lap from your mother's lap. That is the time. Chaturaksham. 4 letters. And after that time, suppose they say after that they continued doing more sinful activities, didn't he? So Vishnu Dutas are saying that after that also he continued chanting. He kept chanting the rest of his life Narayan, almost with his every breath. And at the time of death, when he was not even able to speak, he loudly chanted Narayan. So in the present life, whatever he continued, even if he continued to do some sinful activities till he was time of death, that was all atoned at the time of death, calling the name Narayan. So he's completely pure. The Yamadutas were not able to understand this fact. They are saying the person who did many mahapapam, one who does great sins and many sins again and again, Mahatmas have given ways to atone for those. There is this vrata one has to do for 12 years by